My name's Simon, and I have a rucksack problem. Maybe there's a better way. The Klim Arsenal Vest. And in this video we'll go into all of the features, show you everything about the vest, and why, for me, it's become my go-to kit carrier. This video was inspired by a trip that I've just come back with. Some friends and I rode sections of the Tet around northern France. Sorry, the Tet, the Trans-Euro Trail, if you're not familiar with it. And one of my mates was quite intrigued by the vest. So much so that he said he might look into it when he gets home. So I thought, if it's useful for him, maybe it's useful for others. So let's dive into it. Now, there's nothing wrong with rucksacks. I've got a fine collection of them. But there's two problems. The first is that the weight is always concentrated on your back and pulling you backwards. And the second is you can't access them without taking them off, which is a real pain at ferry terminals, border crossings, anywhere that you need paperwork. This vest cures both problems brilliantly, with a couple of disadvantages, but we'll get to those at the end. So let me show you around this vest. So the first thing to say is it has a ridiculous amount of storage. All of the pockets that you see, they aren't just sort of flaps of fabric sewn onto the vest. They're, I'm trying to think of the right word, three-dimensional. They're pouches. They stand out from the vest, and because of that, their load carrying capacity is huge. And I've used my iPhone, which I think is an iPhone 16 Pro Max, as a demonstration of the size of all of the pockets. Top pockets, I tend to carry my Garmin InReach in here, and you can see it will easily take an InReach plus other stuff in one pocket. In the other pocket, I tend to carry my phone, it's easy access. On the sides, just behind those pockets, you have zips, one zip either side. Now they're more flat, so you can stash, I don't know, credit cards, that sort of thing. It's handy, but they aren't as deep. But they're still useful little pockets. An example would be I carry a little bit of spare cash there and maybe a backup card when we're traveling, because they're quite well hidden as well. The base pockets are frankly huge. I am a bit unusual in that I carry a lot of camera kit in there, but you can carry anything. I mean, they really are impressively big. And you can see I'm just loading up a few bits and bobs here just to show you. Coming around to the side, okay, these side pockets they're quite large capacity, and they're tall, which is handy, but you can't access them while you're riding. Well, maybe you could, but you'd have to do some contortions. So this would be for something that you would use when you're off the bike. I actually have a small tripod in here, some wireless microphones, some various other film kit, but you can use it for anything. They're very handy, they're very secure, but they can't be accessed when you're riding. Then we move round to the rear, and there's a hydration section. Obviously, for us, we find this vitally important. And actually, I've put a fairly large capacity bladder in here. I think it's a Krieger from the top of my head, but it's nearly 4 litres of water. That hydration pack sits in a little pocket in the main section, and the main section is pretty much like a standard rucksack, I guess. Maybe not as much capacity, because obviously your capacity is spread all over the vest, but still a good capacity. A really handy bit is this Velcro section at the back. So it sits on the rear of the main rucksack section, and it's brilliant for very quick access. So in here I keep my waterproof jacket, my waterproof trousers, and the essential travelling companion, a toilet roll in a dry bag. but actually there's quite a lot of space, so it is very handy. The vest is one size fits all. I probably agree with that. Just for reference, I'm 5'11", about 80 kilograms, and it fits me perfectly. The straps that are on the side, there are 3 each side, I think, and 1 each side on the shoulders, and you just pull those through the buckles and that adjusts the fit. And I wear it not tight, but relatively loosely, and I can adjust that perfectly for me. The number one advantage for me is that I can access things while I'm riding, and or if I stop at a toll booth. You know, you're going down through France or something like that, and you know what the toll roads are like there, the péage system. You're constantly having to get a credit card or some cash, so that it's super easy to access. The second major advantage is the weight distribution. It doesn't pull you back, it's distributed all over your body, and it's exceptionally comfortable to wear. Which brings us to the disadvantages. If you're not careful, because this vest is so good, you can end up overloading it. You have to be quite conscious because it can carry a phenomenal amount of kit. Doesn't mean you have to, doesn't mean you should. And that for me is a bit of a gotcha. You just have to be a bit careful not to completely overload it and end up carrying a lot of weight. Another disadvantage. Let's address the elephant in the room. The look of it. Yeah, I guess personal preference, I don't think it's going to win any style awards. And when you first start wearing it, kind of feel slightly self-conscious because it is a bit of an unusual look. But to be honest, the practicalities outweigh that. Another thing to factor in is cost. Yep, good motorcycle rucksacks are expensive, but this vest is probably another level up. I've had mine for a few years now, and it has pretty much 0 signs of wear and tear, so I guess you are getting quality, but it is expensive. One final disadvantage, and this is, I think it's probably more in my head than an actual disadvantage, but in very hot environments, and we're talking maybe 30 degrees plus, a rucksack will probably flow more air. Although this vest is mesh, there's a lot of mesh, the pockets are big. You know, there's 2 big pockets up top, there's 2 more big pockets sort of just above your waist. So I haven't actually decided whether it actually stops the airflow more than a rucksack, but I think it must do. But I think in the temperatures that I'm talking about, you're going to be hot no matter what you're wearing. But maybe something to be aware of. Well, I'm not getting rid of all of my rucksacks just yet. I still find them handy for shorter trips, day trips, things like that. But if I'm traveling, it's going to be the vest every time from now on. It's just too good. I think, in fact, the next series that we've got is just a short mini series of us traveling, doing the Trans-Euro Trail through France with some of the boys, and you'll see the vest in action. So subscribe if you're interested in that. I'll see you soon.